We are back-to-back episodes of Baschamania. 153 last night with Snyderman and Nolf. That was a blast. Running double duty today. Corby's on the show. We're going to do some Big Ten wrestling seeding talk, which are likely going to be the final seeds. Somebody was just commenting when a bracket's going to be finalized Friday, and then brackets should come out. So we're just going to go weight by weight. Corby, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm ready. I think
and I have this printed out because I thought you did it perfectly.
Yeah, I'm getting some crap, some, the media people, I think, but it's like, everybody forgets, I think, that like, I've been a fan for so long and, was a friend of Willie's, and I wouldn't say drug into this, but like, prodded and pried kind of to, hey, dude, let's do this podcast. Let's do this thing. And which I love the sport. Right. So I'm like, not a very computer savvy guy. And when I was doing that, I was at my father-in-law's and I didn't have a computer with me. And I was like, you know what? I was getting DMs and questions and people weren't sure about the bracket. I pretty much got it. A lot of us.
I still like just looking at it though. Like I do too, but like, obviously everybody knows like 1 and 4, 2 and 3. And then I feel like before that, you just forget. So I like the visual. So I figure we'll go through the pre-seeds. We'll talk about our favorite matches. We'll pick our winners. No bias whatsoever.
No. You won't pick a bunch of.
Luke Gardner sent this. I'm not going to be swayed by it. So.
Okay. Hey, have you got any black and gold in the mail yet? Yeah, I know. I got the screenshot. I got one coming here for you too. It says blood clots, sweat dries, bones heal, suck it up and keep wrestling. So it'll get to the mail. Hopefully he doesn't outgrow it before it gets there, but I'm going to mail it out to you tomorrow. So yeah, I knew that black and gold drool was coming.
I told Felters, I said, look it. He's like, you got to get a picture of him in it. I said, if he's crying, I'll put him in there. Unless Felters wants to do a bet. So Felters, I know you're listening to this. Let's come up with a bet, whether it's Big Tens or NCAAs. Obviously, I know you'll take Iowa. So we'll do a bet where if Iowa wins, Freddie has to wear the Iowa onesie. But I want to know what I get if Penn State wins. So text me after this because you always do. So, all right. 120.
I think maybe he's got to go to a decent event wearing Penn State gear.
What about day one of NCAAs?
Ooh, like the following year, day one. That'd be a good one. And you have to, or if not,
I'll do it this year. If he wants to do it for Big Tens, Penn State wins Big Tens. He has to wear Penn State gear day one of NCAAs. I like that. Felters, hit me up.
Wearing Penn State gear in the suite. Ooh, you'll get ribbed for that. I know that much.
I know. I might even have to venture up. I actually got my media credential yesterday for NCAAs. So once I got that, which I don't like to sit in seats at NCAAs because it's so long. I like to bug around and honestly just talk to people. Yeah. So I don't know where I'm going to end up for finals, but I have the media credential. I'll be in Detroit. I'm going to try to see and talk to as many people as I can. Actually booked the flight for my wife yesterday. Her and Freddie are going to come. So it'll be fun. It's always fun in between sessions, going to lunch, dinners, breakfast with people. So can't wait to be at Detroit.
Yeah. And real quick, we're going to jump into this, but I just want to explain a little bit. I don't know. A lot of people out there may not know how Big Ten seeding works. Coaches seed the Big Tens. The coaches seed every weight. They seed it down the way they like it. They come up with a point system. They point it all out. Those are your seeds. So every coach, seeds it the way they think it should look. And then they average that out. And then there's like a weird, like it's like 2 or 3 points. If you're within that, you can like challenge for that spot. Or if the guy ahead of you beat head to head. So let's jump into 25, and we have that happening here. And a spot where I feel Ayala gets the 6, Schroeder gets the 5. Ayala has the head-to-head, but I think the coaches felt Schroeder's schedule, he beat more guys, he got it. Now, Iowa could say, hey, we want the 5.
And by the way, sorry to cut you off. For those listening, if you want to see the pre-seeds, go to Baschamania on Instagram. I just posted them yesterday, so you can see what we're looking at. All right, go ahead, Corby.
Yep. No problem. So that's an interesting one to start right off, right? I mean, we saw Heinzelman Ayala. We haven't seen Barnett Ayala. I think maybe, I don't, like we said, this is a vote through the coaches. So it's almost like the reason they don't change is because then you're basically asking a coach to change his mind, right?
Yeah.
Because they voted on this. So really, to get any changes after this, it usually doesn't happen.
And I'm sure there's also meetings behind closed doors between coaches on coming up to things beforehand. I don't think all these coaches kind of hold their votes secretly and, to themselves. There's conversations happening behind closed doors with what are you going to do?
Yeah, I would like to see these made public.
Somebody tweeted that 100%.
Just the fact that they wanted, like the Big 12 uses independent panel of individuals, right? 4 or 5 independent panel individuals seed the Big 12. So I don't know. Maybe down the road we come to that. I wish they would come up with some type of independent panel to actually rank or come up with the coaches poll rather than the way they do. I think if you use media, you have sway, you have people leaning the other way, people that rank guys, like you're ranking and you're going to take your rankings into play. I think maybe we try to keep that out of it. But so what do you think? Soriano the 1, Hildebrandt the 2, Barnett the 3, Heinzelman, Schroeder, Ayala, DiAugustino, McKee, and Shawver will battle in the 8-9. Who do you like 125 pounds?
I was just thinking about this. This was the weight I was thinking about for the last 20 minutes. And the reason I do is because I know I have a Penn State bias. And to be fair, I picked Drake over Drew if they were to wrestle in the duel. But this is March. And if there's any coach in the country who you could argue over the last 10 years knows how to peak a guy in March, it's in Rec Hall. It's in State College. When Nick and Drew wrestled, Nick beat Drew, but it was very, very close. And Michigan as a team did not look good. So if it's Nick and Drew in the finals, I'm going Drew to win it. And I think it could be I think it could be that upset that's like quintessential Penn State March upset. It's like, as I go through this, like, especially in March, I think hungry dogs run faster. Everybody has such expectations for Soriano. He hasn't impressed me since getting to Michigan. He really hasn't. I'm not like seeing him. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's blowing the doors off everybody. If he wins this, I'm not at all surprised. He's an NCAA champ. He's so tough. But even before that, the matches, I say that because that's the 1 and the 2. But what can happen before that? I mean, we could see Drew and Drake in the semis. And
I'm going to tell you one. Watch out for DiAugustino Hildebrandt match. 2-7. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. DiAugustino's pretty tough. They're both pretty good on top. He's a veteran. My pick, I'm probably going to, get called an Iowa homer or whatever, but I'm not. But I'm saying Drake beats Barnett. I'm saying Drake beats the 2-7 winner and Drake makes the finals against Soriano. And I like Soriano to beat Drake, but I think I like, Drake.
Do you think Drake is healthy? Like, do you think he's right where he needs to be? Because that's like the big thing for me with anytime a guy is coming off an injury, I'm always hesitant to pick him because you never really know where they're at.
I would say we get 330 wrestlers, the NCAAs. I would say maybe 30 are healthy.
This is
true.
Know
what I mean? Nobody's healthy right now. So, right. Is Drake tough enough mentally to go through what he's going through? 100%. Which most of these kids are, right? We're going to get to it at another weight as well coming up here. But I mean, I like my pick. I like Ayala Soriano. I like that final. I like Hildebrandt. Well, not like. I think Hildebrandt could lose the DiAugustino in the quarter, but I still like Hildebrandt coming back to get third. Now, I'm not saying he's going to lose to him. I'm just saying that's a match. When I saw the seeds, if I'm Hildebrandt, I'd much rather be wrestling a Schroeder. I'd much rather be wrestling a Heinzelman than I would a D'Agostino. Just my opinion.
So, but both our top three really, I think, is the same with Soriano, Drew, and Drake. I think those are the three at the top of the podium at the end of the tournament. But, you know, if Shane Sparks is listening, I have to give kudos to him because he says it more than anybody. There's nothing like Big Ten wrestling. You know, we'll see it later on where you have semifinals that are NCAA finals matches. Like, it's so deep and you have so much talent that there's landmines everywhere. Somebody can pull off an upset and everything. You know, you saw it last year at NCAAs. Everybody's thinking Marinelli's going out there and winning it. And then all of a sudden you see Shane come out and win it. And it's kind of like, yeah, there's so many talented guys that when you see something like this happen, I think it's easy. I do think Soriano, Hildebrandt, Drake are the top three in the Big Ten at this weight. But you have so much talent there that if something happens, like, yeah, it's the Big Ten. That's what happens.
No, 100%. I agree with you. And this is a smaller tournament too, where like, you know, where I think Iowa, Penn State are going to be, you know, it's going to be nip and tuck here. I mean, and I think 33, 41, 74 heavyweight. Those four weights are going to decide the Big Ten title. Can
head-to-head matches, 100%. Whoever wins the head-to-head matches takes the Big Ten championship.
100%. And, you know, I like Drake placing higher than his seed. You know, I think, you know, through here, we'll go through Penn State. I think a lot of them probably place, you know, really close to their seed. So it's going to come down to bonus points. It's going to be a street fight in a small tournament like this, right? But then I think when you get to nationals, it may get a little, the margin may get a little wider there, right? But we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting weekend. I can't wait. So let's go to 33. Who we got? RBY, DeSanto, Bird is the 3, Foley the 4, Ragusin the 5, Hudkins the 6, Cannon the 7, Joey Oliveris the 8. And then the 9 is Ramos. So I mean, I don't know how anybody could pick anything other than RBY to final here. I don't see him getting knocked off anywhere by anyone along the way. I think there's some interesting matches in here. I think Foley and Ragusin is a very interesting 4-5 quarter. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to either way who won that. I like Bird over Hudkins.
Even, you know, I think Roman is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the Big Ten. He beat Dayton in overtime last year at NCAAs, hasn't lost since, looked incredible. But still, you never really hear his name. Like, DeSanto is such a good wrestler that I feel like you think 133 and so many people think think Fix, and rightfully so. But, like, Roman beat him and hasn't lost since. And I think so many people, I don't know if some people think it's a fluke or what, but I think Roman has this chip on his shoulder. You know, he's more than likely done this year. He's going out. He's got 2 more tournaments. And then we may never see him wrestle again. He may go to MMA this summer. Like, we don't know what he's going to do. And I think he's got a chip on his shoulder to not let anybody think last year was a fluke. And I think I'm really excited for Roman and Ragusin if they wrestle in the semis. I think that'll be a fun match that I think Roman wins. But that's a fun match, I think.
Yeah, I think Roman, too. It's weird, like you said, you don't hear, which, you know, remember when the NIL came out, everybody's like, oh, Roman's so far ahead, right? Roman's the one, he's been out there, he's got his name, he understands the game, which he does, right? But then like you said, then when in the discussions of 33, it's like you don't hear his name much, right? So I don't know. I mean, I can't wait to see what he can become when he gets out of, you know, Penn State. I don't know what's going on over there. I'm not blaming them or anybody, but it seems like other people at other universities are, you know, they're signing NIL deals. They're getting out there. It seems like the Penn State athletes are a little bit farther behind. I don't know if it's their administration holding them back. I'm kind of hearing some rumblings of it, which, you know, I mean, down the road, listen, that's going to hurt recruiting. And if they can't get that figured out, listen, They may be losing a coach sometime soon. If that's the way the game's going to go and they can't secure NIL deals and their administration's holding back their athletes from doing so, that's serious, right? Like in the scheme of things right now, when other universities are saying, hey, work, whatever, it's good with us, so it's kind of, I don't know if a lot of people know that's going on. I know you probably know a little bit and probably don't want to say much about it, which is okay. You're in there with,
but
got
I think
guys
people, even, what I will say is that I think a lot of people saw certain things play out publicly with Wick not being able to get in the right way and everything else. And, I think you're seeing that, like you said, Penn State has some stars and there's some deals that haven't been going through. And it's going to be interesting. Cal is one of the most determined people I've ever met. And he's not going to sit around this off season and just say, well, this is what the Penn State administration is giving me. He's going to fight. He's going to fight for the best team and the best recruits and do whatever it takes to make sure he has everything in his arsenal to get them. So it's going to be interesting to definitely see that play out.
As he did with no contract for 2 years, fighting for raises for his assistants that a lot of people probably, weren't aware of either. So yeah, he's a fighter. He's going to fight and good for him. Right. I mean, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So, I mean, others are doing it. And listen, you're winning championships right now, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 9, something like that. And it's like, hey, that and down the road, you know what I mean? They're saying, hey, we can give this kid 60%, but the car dealership's going to cover the other 40. We're good to go. He just goes and does a couple signings and puts his name out there on the dealership, waving, and there you go, right? And so, if other universities are able to find ways to offset it, I just hope that they can fix that. But let's get back to the wrestling, okay?
So I think, Roman over DeSanto in the finals. Who do you think for third?
I also like Roman over DeSanto in the finals. I like Bird. I just think, my opinion, this is a three-tier conference, right? It's like you got DeSanto RBY in a tier, you got a tier of Bird on his own, and then you've got Foley, Ragusin, Hudkins, Cannon, in another tier. So, I tell you what, people, and I know Adam tweeted out, it was going to be, you're Penn State Bash, and I'm Rutgers,
and he's Corby. Iowa Adam, so who cares?
I know, but this Oliveri kid, Joey Oliveri, he's good, true freshman, 3-time Jersey State champion, got in there for Sammy, and he's not looked back. The kid's confident, they've seen it in the room early in the year, like, wow, we got to redshirt this kid, he's pretty good, and he just kept coming. He's building confidence and staying in matches, and just
what does it look like
out for? I'm not saying that he's going to beat any of the top guys, but don't be shocked when he
held
4 through 7s.
He held Roman to a decision, 11-5. He held Ragusin to a 3-1 loss decision, and he held Rayvon Foley to a decision. So those are 3 guys, and I think Bird majored him. Yeah, Bird majored him 13-2. But you're talking for Foley, Roman, and Dylan, they beat him by a decision. That's tough to do, especially like a guy like RBY who's out there putting 26 points up in a match.
And what people don't realize, I mean, in the Big Ten too, there's nowhere to hide, right? A freshman like that, like you said, you wrestle Bird, Foley, Ragusin back to back, back to back to back to back, or let's say there's never an off match, right? There's never a match to get your confidence back if if your confidence is down. So 41's going to be really interesting.
Oh yeah. Now is Rivera wrestling? Did I hear he's getting surgery or something?
Well, Pat put it out last night, so I guess it's out there. So he had surgery.
Okay.
So
I
he'll be back.
I didn't see that tweet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Pat spilled the beans, I guess. I wasn't going to say anything. Obviously, I respect the kid. The kid's an awesome kid, awesome family. Respect.
Yeah, I like Sebastian a lot.
I wasn't going to say a word. But it got out there, got leaked out, I guess. And so people heard about it, but he'll be back. He's going to wrestle. He'll wrestle at the Big Ten. I believe he'll take the mat. He's such a warrior.
He is. He's one of the toughest kids. By the way, another kid who's getting slept on this year.
Yes. And they're going to have to literally, my opinion, whatever, just we all have opinions. Mine is just be smart. They're gonna have to drag him out of that. They're gonna have to drag him out of there if they want to injury fault him out of there. He is not gonna want to do it. He's gonna be madder than if they do get him to do it. I guarantee he won't say a word to anybody on that staff for at least a few hours. He's gonna be pissed off. But I mean, it's the best thing for him. It's the best thing for him. He's so good. Who cares about your seed? Go out there. You know, if you wrestle, you know, go to the quarter. Here's a shitty thing. Knees banged up, gets the 3, right? What happens to the 3 the first round? You get a match. Yep. What happens to the 2? You get a bye. And I'm not, you know, I don't know what you do there. I think it comes down to
for the visual people.
Yep. And so that's very interesting to me. So basically him getting a bye and then having one match in the quarter and then securing that bid. Now he's got to wrestle a match, then Micic in the quarter. So, you know, I don't think Micic will give him, I think his pace, his hands, he's too, you know what I mean? From what we've seen from Stefan this year, I think, you know, even, you know, his knee's fine. You know, I think he got some stuff cleaned up. I mean, you know, these guys.
The bottom side of this bracket is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Like you have potentially Ironman and Sebastian in the semis.
Yep.
That's, you know, after a Micic match, it's nuts. You have Dylan D'Amelio and Jaden as a potential quarter, and you have Seabass and Micic as a quarter. Like those are NCAA matches. Like those are NCAA quarter semifinals.
You got All-American Dylan Duncan at the 9 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All-American Chad Red at the 4. Then you've got obviously 1 Nick Lee Ironman, 2 Rivera, 3. Here's going to be the shocker to Red 4, Jacob Berglund. Berglund's the 5. And then Micic, D'Amelio, Zargo Duncan. Watch out. This Zargo Duncan match, the 8-9, is going to be Zargo is starting to get confidence. Zargo is a freaking goer. So that'll be a really interesting match. A young kid, you know, full of piss and vinegar versus an old veteran that's only wrestled 5 matches, right? Yeah. So you know, we talked about this early in the year. What's going to happen at the end of the season when these young, hungry freshmen and sophomores or whatever are in the blood round against the 6-year senior, right?
Yep.
You know, when the going gets tough, what's going to happen? So this is an interesting wait. My opinion, what I think should happen, I'm going to go with, I think Seabass wrestles, beats Micic, gets to the quarters, and then he does not wrestle Ironman. He's probably not going to be happy about it. And I don't know what they'll do. It'll probably leave it up to him, but I wouldn't leave it up to him.
So that was my first thought. I've been hearing stuff about Sebastian for the past week. I actually thought it was public last week for some reason, but that was my thought too, is that I don't think we're going to see Seabass and Ironman in the semis. And I if it's up to Sebastian, you'll take him out on a stretcher. But I think Rutgers is going to try to be cautious with it and say, you know, you'd rather have that match at NCAA's in 2 weeks first, potentially not wrestling if you hurt yourself or whatever. So, yeah, that's my thought. I so want Rivera to beat Ironman and then Lee Rivera as a final. I love that. I would go with Nick Lee, Coffee Nick. He's my guy. I think nobody's going to beat him this year. I think he's going to win NCAA. I think he's going to win this. But I'm all about that Nick and Sebastian final. But I don't think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Nick Lee and Ironman.
Who do you got? Nick Lee again?
Nick Lee every time.
You think Nick Lee every time, huh?
Nick Lee has 2 combined losses in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's so like I just in my mind, I like go to the best version of Jaden Ironman, and man, is that that dude's so good. But
which by the way, in my opinion, might have been last year when he beat Nick at the Big Tens in the finals 6-5.
I think he's starting to come into his own. He's looking better and better and better. I don't know. Man, I don't know. I have him winning one of these, and I just don't know which one it is. But since I think it just depends on, I don't know what's going to happen at NCAAs. I got Seabass over Ironman if they wrestle. So it
So
just,
do I.
if Seabass injury defaults in the semi, where are they going to put him? You know what I mean? And history's shown us they slide you a little bit. You know what I mean? Does he slide? It's just interesting. Does that slide him to a 4-5 and he's on Nick Lee's side, or does he slide to a 6 and he stays on the 2-3 side? If that's what happens, then whatever, you see Ironman again, it doesn't matter, right? What you want to avoid, if you can't avoid it, but you hope that he's not a 4-5 on Nick's side, right? I mean, who cares? But like, to me, that's probably your final. So it'll be interesting. I think Ironman's so good. He's starting to hone it in. Last match was so close. You know what? Give me Ironman. Give me Ironman. Give me Ironman.
So you don't think? So you think he's going to beat Rivera or lose to Rivera, but beat Nick Lee?
I think. I think this weekend.
Rutgers, Corby.
No, this weekend. I think you're going to see Ironman win the Big Ten. And then at Nationals, I think you see Seabass beat Ironman and you get a Seabass Nick Lee final. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And wow, I didn't even realize this, but starting off with Drake in the final, and I got Hildebrandt third, and I got RBI beat DeSanto, but I just picked Ironman over Lee. So right now, I got Iowa in a real good spot here after. And then you and Penn State Bash over there said he'd pick Hildebrandt to beat Soriano. So we'll see.
I know it's the March factor. I told you I picked Drake over Drew for the duel. But when it comes to March, I think of the Quentin Wright stories. I think of the James English. Penn State in March is just, I don't know. So
one of my favorite ever, Quentin Wright. One of my favorite ever.
I love him. He's one of the nicest, greatest dudes in the sport. All right, 49. What do you think?
Ooh, Sasso, Gomez, Lovett, Mirren, Thomas, Van Brill, Bartlett, and then we drop off. Here's an interesting one. Kanzler and Rooks are 8-9, and Blockus and Storr all the way down at your 10 and 11. When you see those names at the 10 and 11, you're like, wow. My opinion, it's Sasso. Sasso wins this weight. I don't see anybody beating Sasso.
You ever just want somebody to go on a run? You know who I would love to win this?
Who?
Love it. I think, even as a Penn State guy, I would love for Bo Bartlett to win. Make no mistake about that. I think he's a true 41 guy. I think next year maybe he goes down to 41. I think he'll be more in his element there. I think he's a little undersized, but he's such a good wrestler. I'd love for Bo Bartlett to win. But Lovett is just one of those guys that I feel like everybody roots for. Everybody appreciates the scrambles. Everybody is just, I don't know. I have the waving video that I use sometimes from last year at Big Tens. I think it was when he had such an electric run. What did he do last year? Was he in the finals?
Where? Oh, the Big Tens. I believe he did make the finals.
He went on a run last year. I want to say it was at Big Tens.
Yep.
What happened? And then he lost to Sammy Sasso 5-2.
Yep.
So, I mean, I would love for Rich Lovett to make a run here. I think it's going to be Sasso until somebody beats him. I think it's going to be him. But, man, would I love to see Lovett go on a little run.
The 4-5 is interesting with Lovett, and I mean the 4-5 with Mirren and Yaya. That's always a battle. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of that one. That's going to be a big. Those right here, the 2-7-2 Gomez wrestling Bartlett, the 2-7, and then the 4-5. Those are very interesting matchups for the team race, right? And then, where's Bartlett on the backside? That's going to come into Mirren and Bartlett. I think they're going to end up running into each other somewhere on the backside. So that'll have a big impact on the team race as well. So who do you have in the final? You got Sasso, Lovett.
Sasso, Lovett, and I am pulling with everything I have for Lovett to get the upset.
I'm taking give me Gomez. Give me Gomez, Sasso, Gomez in the Lovett rematch again. I just think that Lovett is a very good Greco kid, and he's very good in control ties. And he's very timid in them positions against Gomez, and as most are. So I don't know. I like Gomez there. Gomez, Sasso. Give me Sasso. Give me Lovett to get third. And then 157. We got a very interesting 157. We got Deacon, Young, Luan, Coleman, Robb, Saldate, Model, Kennard. Now, do you see this 2-7 Caleb Young, Garrett Model match is interesting.
Yeah. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, after that, you'll have potentially Bergie Caleb.
Correct. Yeah, Bergie's all the way. I was going to get there. Bergie's all the way down at the 10. Okay. So, yeah, he's got Model and then maybe Young. So they got to wrestle each other, right? And so we saw really good Garrett Model against Brayton Lee. We saw Garrett Model be good at times on his feet. It's going to be really interesting. He has a pretty high pace. What happens there? Who do you got? You got Bergie?
Yeah, I think Bergie's so dang good. I don't think he'd be down in 57 if he wasn't confident and ready. Maybe it's Penn State Bash, but I give me Bergie. Give me Bergie.
Are you taking, is this your Quentin Wright number 10 seat to the final or something here? Are you taking the 10 Bergie all the way, beating Caleb Young?
I'm riding it as far as I can. I've never really been successful with picking Deacon to win something. I don't know why, but Bergie. Maybe it's just like I want to see it. That's why.
You definitely want to see it. You're trying to will it into existence.
I'm trying to think where I picked Deacons. I don't even know truthfully that I've seen him wrestle this year. I thought he was going to do better in 2019, and then we didn't have NCAAs in 2020. Last year he got pinned by Del Vecchia, and I think I had him something with that. So I don't know. I am just give me Bergie to run far. Will Deacon win? Probably. I think this is really Deacon's weight to lose. And I'm pulling for the Bergie upset all the way through, but this is definitely Deacon's weight to lose.
I got Deacon as well. I've been impressed. I've been impressed lately with Caleb Young. Caleb Young is one of the guys that wrestling better, starting to feel it. He's looking good. I think Young gets the finals against Deacon. 3-6 Saldate Luan's interesting, and the 4-5 Coleman Robb as well is interesting to me. Man, I don't know about that 7-10. It's very big.
Well, here's the thing. If Bergie's going to go on a run, then that's a foregone conclusion that he's winning that one.
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that's a foregone conclusion that's more of a, is Bergie a 7? I think talent-wise, he's right there. You know what I mean? I don't think this is an interesting year for him. But where is so Peyton Robb is a wild card in my opinion.
Yes.
This way, because he has the ability to just absolutely turn it on. I think it was it CKLV? He went into overtime with David Carr, or no,
yes.
Daktronics Open.
Yes, first weekend of the year.
And he looked so good. And I know it was early, and I had David Carr to win it all this year at this weight. I think David Carr, we were talking, I was stocking my pond, so I want to say it was like April, May. And I was on the phone with David for a couple hours in the afternoon. And he told me, I'm not coming for another NCAA championship. I'm coming for the Hodge. And to win the Hodge, you have to win an NCAA championship. He's like, but I already got an NCAA championship. Now I want the Hodge. So 57, I think I'm so locked in on David Carr that maybe that's why I'm sleeping on Deacon a little bit and rooting for a Bergie move here. Because the only person I'll be okay with Bergie losing to is David Carr, because that's my guy. I love David. Arguably, if you were making a top 10 pound for pound nicest guys in the sport, I don't think you can put anybody above David Carr.
Yeah, I don't
especially if you're putting talent and character next to each other. Especially if you're talking about like having success, and like there's a lot of guys I love in this sport. There's a lot of guys that I know very well competing collegiately. David is just, his heart is unreal. Shout out David if you're listening to this, because you're my guy.
He's a great kid.
So yeah,
His
Peyton,
dad as
Rob,
well.
yeah, the whole family.
Yeah.
Peyton Rob is definitely somebody who could just, like, if we're texting during Big Tens because it's Peyton Rob versus Bergie in the finals, because Peyton Rob beats Deacon in the semis, like,
Woo.
you might get the Love It Wave video from me or something, but Peyton Rob is just, that boy knows how to wrestle.
Yeah, he is good. And I don't know if it's, remember he switched weights too. He was up, come down. So I don't know if it'd be middle of the year, if the weight was kind of getting to him a little bit or what, but he's starting to look better lately. 65 is really, to me, like three guys, right? Cam Amin hasn't really looked the same this year. He's at the 4. You got Karchula 1, Marinelli 2, Hemedy 3, Amin 4, Fish 5, Bronigal 6, Laurie 7, Wilson 8, and Carlson 9. So what do you like here? This 2-3 here, who do you got? Who do you like here? Hemedy and Marinelli.
I think it's going to be Carson beating Marinelli in the finals. And I think so many people are going to take Marinelli to win. He's a 3-time Big Ten champ. If there's anybody who knows how to wrestle at the Big Tens, it's Alex Marinelli. I don't want to get into why that's personal to me, but there's a guy in this podcast that maybe has that ringing a little too close for comfort to me. But Carson is a beast. He's hungry. He beat Marinelli the last time they wrestled. They beat him 3-2. I don't know. I think Marinelli beats Hemedy. I think Carson beats Marinelli. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's a part of me that's just wants Iowa to lose because, this is no disrespect to Creighton, but this might be Penn State's weakest weight.
Yeah, I would say so. Now could he pull the 7-10 upset possibly against Laurie? Which would.
But I think this is the lowest seed. Him and Bergie are both at 10. Nobody's lower than that.
Correct. I got Marinelli. You ask Chenzo, he'll tell you. Some reason the guy can. He's 3 for 3. I think he gets it done again. Against Karchula.
It wouldn't surprise me. Marinelli is an amazing wrestler. And if we're talking next week and he's a 4-time Big Ten champ, congrats, Alex. Like, you deserved it. I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah, I think it pretty much, like 3-4 kind of, go the way of the seed. I could see 5, 6, 7, 8 getting mixed up in there a little bit. So, Bubba Wilson's tough at the 8. So we'll see what happens down there at the bottom. And then what can Edsel do for the team, right? Can Edsel, win that 7-10? Then can he battle on the backside? Can he get through? He allocated. So that is going to be interesting. 174. This is interesting seeding. I didn't see how it could really go any other way. You got Carter. You got as the 1. He's been out for a little while. But he deserves the 1. I think you see him back. I think he'll be healthy. I think Massa the 2, Labs is the 3, Kemmer the 4, Smith the 5, O'Reilly the 6, Ninehouse 7, Fisher 8. Man, it's interesting semi, right? I mean, Kemmer, Ethan Smith, and then you get Carter and you get Kem in the semi.
An NCAA final rematch in the semis. Just
this conference.
It's insane.
Insane.
I don't like. Obviously, I'm pulling for Carter to win the whole way. I think he will, and I want him to. So it's a kind of a double whammy. But I mean, what a tough. In my opinion, and this is so early, depending on how he wins these matches, if he wins, is this not the candidate for the wrestler of the tournament?
The winner of this weight?
If he beats Kemmerer,
yeah.
And then let's say he just beats Massa. I don't know.
Massa. Yeah, I could see Massa. I got Massa in the finals off that side for sure. I got Kem beating Smith. You know what? I'll take Carter. And then, I'll take Carter winning it over Massa. And then give me Kem to come back and take third.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then now I could see that. I could see that flip-flopping in 2 weeks as well. I think, Kem's getting a little, getting a little more comfortable wrestling, getting a little healthier. So we'll see. And I think Carter too, right? Carter had some time off. We'll see, if he's a little, sometimes you get some time off and you come back and you got a little bit more pop, right? A little bit more spring.
And by the way, we both think Massa in the finals, but Labriola last match beat Kemmer 5-4.
Yep.
That dude can scrap.
He's looking good.
That match, I love matches when I'm not invested at all. That match is going to be so fun to watch.
Both guys on top are nasty. Massa gets that bow and arrow. I mean, he's so nasty with that. That's going to be an unbelievable match as well. Before that, I mean, I think Kemmer and Ethan Smith is going to be a solid match as well. Ethan Smith's a really good, man, really good. So
that's a tough quarter.
That's a very tough quarter. And then other than that, I mean, I don't see any of the other quarters being that,
there's so much separation here in my mind. After the top 5, I feel like there's a lot of separation.
Yep. And then we get to 84 and we got this weight allocated 12 spots out of 14. And the only 2 guys that didn't allocate were Jessen and Assad. So, but Assad gets the 5. So it's Brooks, Amin, Romero, Venz, Assad, Malzewski, Poznansky, Cochran, Washington, Salazar, Weiler, Bronigal, Lyon, Jessen. So the 13 seed at this weight allocated. So that's how deep 184 is. You got 13 guys in the top 28, 29 in the country, or 12 guys plus Abe Assad, who, just didn't have the matches for the RPI, and then wrestling in the Big Ten. It's hard to have a 700 winning percentage, right? So, but he's beat a lot of these guys. That's why he ended up seated where he was seated. This is a very deep, wild weight. I mean, we got John Poznansky, Rutgers, hasn't been wrestling great lately, All-American last year, down at the 7 seed. So the 2-7, he gets a mean, not a good matchup for him there. But I like Brooks. I just like Brooks. I like Brooks. I think Aaron Brooks might be the best wrestler right now in the upper weights, from 157 up.
Oh,
I think Aaron Brooks is the best wrestler.
You're going to get pushback because of Gable is technically in that conversation.
Oh, yeah, but no, he's not. No, he's not. Gable's on his own freaking mountain, and you just win. You're it. You got, I mean, Olympic, I know it sucks, but Olympic, I don't even, Gable's just the man, and he gets, it's Hodge is Gabe. Like I said before, they should just create a Hodge B or something so everybody else has a chance because it's Gable. Like, forget it. But other than that, yes, Brooks. Yeah. He may be the best. I mean, when you get down to it, when you get running, I mean, there's we have a lot of talent, but man, I just think by the time that kid's done, wait till what people are saying about him. He's so
him at 86 kilo if he wrestles freestyle this year.
Yeah. And listen, man, Miles Amin.
He's
so
a dog.
Talented. He's a dog. When does that dude ever get a break? When has he ever had a break? That's my worry with Miles Amin right now, right? And I think a lot of these dudes came back, right? It's in Michigan. They're going to make the run. They're all coming back, together. And then the team just hasn't looked like they thought it was going to, right? And then it's like, man, well, I'm not saying this is Miles' thought. This is me as the outside thinking, man, did some of these guys come back to win a team title? And then now that doesn't look like it's going to happen, and you're beat up. I just don't you're old, you've been training forever. And I think he'll pull through here, but at the Big Tens and make the finals. But then at the NCAA tournament, there's so many guys, and I love Miles. I'm worried about a lot of these guys that came back 6, 7, 8 years in. You know what I mean? I worry about those guys. So I definitely got Brooks Amin final. Give me Romero third. Man, I don't know. I think the top 4 or 5 in this weight's going to place out pretty much like it looks, unless John Poznansky can turn around and get back to wrestling like he was.
There's Rutgers, Corby.
Yeah. Hey, man, I love John Poznansky, and I think it's people are, is he hurt? Is he hurt? I think he might have got dinged up early in the year, but then confidence is hard, right? You got to keep wrestling these good guys. You lose a little match here, a little match there. So yeah, I mean, he was an All-American last year and he's a 7 seed. So look out for him, man. 197. I mean, in the country, 197 is off the charts. If Big 12 this weekend, unbelievable. And then we get to the Big 10. I mean, look at Caffey. Do you see what happened with Caffey? He gets the 3 and he gets Robluski, who beat him.
Yeah.
At the 14.
It doesn't fully make sense to me.
That was a weird one. So Schultz gets the 1, Dean the 2, Caffey the 3, Warner the 4, Brucky the 5, Panola 6, Bolzak 7, Amos 8, Hoffman 9. Man.
This seems like, I feel like overall, seeds this year for Big Tens were done pretty good, but This was one that I did not understand.
It's very interesting. Man, I didn't do these picks. I'm just staring at them as you didn't either. We're kind of going on the fly here. I think
Max Dean. I think Max Dean wins the weight. From there, what happens at, let's say, 2 through 4, wild west, in my opinion.
Yes, I'm just stuck here on this. I mean, this threesome of Warner, Brucky, Quarter, winner gets Schultz. Man, I mean, if Brucky's Brucky could come out of that. You know what I mean? If Warner show, it's just so hard with all these guys are, I think, so close that it's who prepared right, whose mind's right, who's feeling good that morning, who got their, got the right fluid and food in them after weighing. Everybody's so close here. Man, I don't know who.
And Cameron's the only guy who's beaten Max since I don't know, 2019 NCAA finals. I think the last time Max Dean lost, I know they didn't wrestle obviously for a while there at Cornell, but I don't know. I think that match seemed a little funky to me where he lost. I don't think I think he's an amazing wrestler, but I don't think he's better than Max Dean. So I think Max Dean takes that match if that's the semis.
Right.
And then I have Max winning in the finals. I think it's Schultz.
I think Schultz wins it. Give me Schultz. Give me Schultz. Yeah, give me Schultz for now. I'll take Schultz. I'll take Schultz, Warner. I think Warner over Brookie. I'll take Schultz beating Warner. Give me Dean in the final with Schultz. I just think I don't see Dean getting the turn, the bow and arrow, and getting on top and just manhandling Schultz like he's been doing to guys.
Yep.
Schultz, big, strong. I just don't see that. Give me Schultz. Give me Warner to come back and get third. Yeah, that's what I think happens at that weight. I mean, then heavyweight, I mean, it's Gable's weight. Then just what happens, right? You got Cassiope 2, Kirk Fleet, Mason 4, Davison, Lance, Hilger, Orndorff, Luffman.
And I feel like for me, I feel like everybody's expecting Gable to win.
Yes.
But I feel like a lot of eyes at this weight is who wins the Kirk Cassiope match, especially if it's the team title on the line.
I know. And give me Cass again, the way it happened. I mean, I don't know. You don't think so? You think Kirk went in the lab? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I give me Cass again until I see it differently.
I'm sure Felters, if he's listening, is going to call me and say I'm crazy, but yeah, give me Kirk.
Give you Kirk. Okay. So you got Kirk in the final. Now, does the Lance Kirk match entice? I mean, does that, you look at that and think,
I think the only people, I think you have to be an NCAA champ and an Olympic champ to beat Kirk. I think Kirk is so good. And, going back to what you said about Amin, and so much of success in wrestling is timing and health.
Yeah.
Timing and health are two crucial aspects to success in wrestling. It's out of your hands. It's in God's hands. There's nothing you can do sometimes. And this is a case where last year he wasn't healthy. And now it's kind of timing where you have the best pound for pound wrestler in college, bar none, in front of you. It's kind of like David Taylor behind Burroughs, Dake behind Burroughs. It reminds me of that. Like, Kirk is so good, and I don't think he gets the respect because of somebody like Gable being ahead of him. And I know he's taken some losses. I'm not saying, Cassiope obviously won the last one. I wasn't happy about that, obviously. But yeah, give me Kirk in this one. Give me Kirk.
Give you Kirk. And then now, I think maybe a 5-3 or 6, Gable Kirk in high school. To me, you got, if you think it's Kirk, I think it's Cassiope. Does anybody keep it to a regular decision
with Gable?
Yeah.
I don't.
Does anybody?
So. I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't. Gable is so good, and I love Kirk. He's my guy. I work with him at BASCH Solutions. I sponsor him. I love Kirk. But if you're picking, you can't pick against Gable. You can root for someone if that's your guy, but I think anybody with a brain has to take Gable.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in the world is beating him. Nobody. Not at the Olympics, not in college. Gable is just in his own world right now.
I 100% agree.
I will say this.
It's unbelievable.
This is kind of like a circle conversation, but Gable's last loss was a Penn State kid who nobody picked.
Jersey boy likes a two-pick.
Now, I do think that Gable took that loss, and if it was possible to turn it up a notch, I think we talked about this months ago. That fueled Gable to another level that helped him win an Olympic championship, no doubt.
He'll tell you today if he didn't take that loss, he probably is not where he's at. That loss fueled him. Like, if he wins that title there, he probably just continues to do the same things. You know what I mean? By losing that title, got in his mind. He stepped it up. He went to another level in this training. He went to another level of transforming his body. He went to another level of athleticism, which things that you didn't think were even possible, right? It's amazing. Like, it's effortless. I've never seen a heavyweight do things so, it's effortless to other humans that are so big. Like, I don't know. It's amazing.
And we talk about, earlier on, we talked about Roman and kind of soaking this in before he goes to MMA. Gable too, make no mistake about it. These next couple weekends could be the last time he's ever wearing a pair of wrestling shoes again.
Oh.
So, well, this kind of wrestling shoe, because if he goes to WWE, he's going to have different kind of shoes on. But he posted earlier a little picture with, he's got the face like he's ready to go. He's hungry. So I am so excited for Gable. I think he's added an element to wrestling that, he's in the history books on so many levels.
You know what I like about it is that the wrestling world 18, 14, whatever months ago, everybody, not everybody, but the majority of the people were, oh, Gable there. He's people were calling him a punk and the way he acted. You know what I'm saying? And he's, now look at him, right? Now look at him. Look at the respect he shows. Look at Carver Hawkeye Arena stood up. Carver Hawkeye Arena for a opposing wrestler stood up and gave a standing ovation. That's amazing. Like, they ain't rooting for anybody that's not in black and gold.
And I'll tell you, Gable's one of those guys who, when I talk about pound for pound, best, kind, nice people, Gable has a persona that he upholds because he's building his brand very smartly. But he's a very nice dude. He's somebody who I can honestly say every time I've ever asked him for something, he does it. You want to come on the podcast? Yes. Now? Sure. Like, he's such a great guy. The sport's definitely going to miss him after this. We'll talk more about him after NCAAs, before NCAAs. But yeah, that's heavyweight. So team race.
Oh, I'd have to go back and look at what I picked, but
I saw Wrestle Pirate had different ones than Christian Piles put out. I don't know what the discrepancy was between them, but do you know?
I do know. So what happens is a lot of times people will just go and take the placers 16, 12, 10, 9, down. Sure. Pirate does that, but then you get advancement points, right? On the championship side, you win in the bracket. It's advancement points on the front side, back. So Christian Piles was only place points. Pirate had place points along with advancement points. So Pirates was, they're both the same. It's just, basically, if you, add in the advancement points to Piles, you would end up with the same as Pirates. Just nobody has bonus. So yeah, it's going to be a really close race. I don't know. I haven't figured it, but just by some of these picks I made with Ayala higher than Hildebrandt, he's ready to go.
For those listening to the audio version, I'm holding up the onesie Uncle Luke Gardner sent over.
So is that going to be Sunday's attire?
I'm thinking so.
I like the deep breath. I like the deep breath there. He's
got a lot of options.
He's got a lot of options. That's good. You need options as a baby, right? Because he probably wears about 5 outfits a day at this time, I imagine.
At least. Do you think if you have? So I'm going Penn State, Iowa, Michigan, top 3. Yep. Are you going different?
I'm going Iowa. Well, I don't know, but I don't know what I would. But the way I made these picks, I would think in this small tournament, it's gonna. It looked like the way I picked Kirk. I had Ayala higher than.
Now, don't forget, Berge wins 57.
Oh yeah, well, if you're the way you got it, no doubt. The way I got it, give me.
And don't say Rutgers 3rd.
No, I'm not gonna say that. Dude, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if Wisconsin, Nebraska, somebody slides in there, maybe ahead of Michigan. Not a guarantee. Just keep an eye on it.
100%. I'm with you on that one.
I could see that. I could see that happening. But yeah, it's going to be unbelievable. What are you doing? Are you hunkering down? Or?
So the timing worked out nice. My mother is flying in to stay with us. She moved to Florida, so gonna have a nice extra set of hands to help with Freddie. So I am just gonna have my setup going. I'll probably be in the office. I'll have it on every TV in the house, multiple screens, Big Tens. And I tweeted it out, and it's on the Baschamania Instagram, the viewing schedule. So it's on BTN and BTN Plus. Somebody asked me yesterday about if you have the pass for your school, you should be good to get it. So if you have a Penn State Big Ten Network pass for the season, you should be fine. You'll be able to watch it. But I think it's like session 1's on BTN, and then additional mats are on Big Ten Plus. Same with session 2, Wrestlebacks. Semifinals are on BTN Saturday night at 8:30. Semifinals and Wrestlebacks on Big Ten Plus at the same time, and then Sunday at noon. And then finals, BTN 4:30 Eastern Sunday. So that's on my Twitter, on my Instagram, on Corby's Twitter too. By the way, if you want this, if you're listening, you can't see the visual of how the brackets are going to look. You can kind of get a good idea of what the brackets are probably going to be with looking at the pre-seeds and looking at the bracket. And then they'll be out Friday. But if you don't want to wait, this is more than likely what the brackets are going to be. I don't really see any changes. Do you?
No, I don't think you see any changes. Typically, we don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're just going to probably roll with the way they are. It's interesting because you got Big 10, Big 12 kind of together. Then the Big 12 final is going to go later than the Big 10. So that's kind of cool. That's what I'll mainly focus on. You know, you can basically, you can quad box your Big 10, and they'll have the multi-view on for Big 12s on ESPN Plus. They'll have all single mats, and then there'll be 5 links. There'll be each individual mat, and then there'll be a link for a multi, which will have all 4. So then you'll be able to, you can bring that up on your TV. You'll have all 4. So basically between 2 TVs, you should be able to get 4 mats of Big 10, 4 mats of Big 12. So you should be good to watch both of those.
The only thing I was going to say, Corby, before we wrap up is covering your last 2 tweets real quick. What were you saying about Big 10 tournament losers this year?
About what?
The losers staying on the same side of the bracket. Is that different?
So no, it's typically been that way. Okay. Just the quarter finalists will drop sides. So always in a bracket, you always cross somewhere, right? Yep. So, and so like at the bigs, your quarter finalists will cross. Where at the national tournament, your round of 16 guy drops.
Got it.
So if you lose in the round of 16 at nationals and you're on the top, you go to the bottom half of the consi. And so right now, if you're the 1-8, let's say, and you lose at the quarterfinal, the 1-8, you're going to go to the bottom quarter of the consi on the opposite side. So very just opposite side. So so your quarter loser crosses in the Big Tens, and then in the national tournament they cross after the round of 16. So that's just when you're looking at that bracket that I made, or the one, so that way you can just see, hey, everybody that loses first round is going to go against each other, and then the quarter finalists will drop in. So it's like where I think Bergie's your 10, right? And you had him beating the 7 and going to the 2. Well, then he would, if let's say, the 7-10 loser is going to get a bye off the 2. And then they're going to get the 8-9, or they're going to get the 1-8 quarter loser dropping down to them, right? So basically your 1-8 guy is going to drop all the way down.
Sweet.
The loser.
And what were you saying? So ACC seeds, are they out?
They should be soon. Okay. I heard a little rumbling.
I saw you put 174 with the eyes.
Yeah, and then people on Twitter, I think it kind of got out there a little bit, but Lout's going to be the 1. With Hidlay the 2 and Lewis the 3. People are complaining because Lewis beat Lout so bad, but Lout pinned Hidlay. Hidlay beat Lewis. So you can only jump the guy ahead of you and head to head. You can't say, I'm the 3 seed, you're the 1 seed, but I beat you head to head. Well, stuck in between at the 2 is the guy that beat you. So you can usually, in a seeding criteria, you can only jump the guy ahead of you.
So we're going to get a Headley-Mackay semi. Wow.
Yeah.
That'll be good. And give me Headley in the match again. By the way, I was right about that.
Yeah, give me Headley to win the ACC.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll beat Lout. Lout caught him. It won't happen again. Lout's good. Don't get me wrong. I like Lout, but I don't see him catching him again. ACC's a little hammer fest. I mean, hey, how about this? NC State's the only team in the country to allocate all 10.
Wow.
NC State was the only team. Yep, that was it. So your other hammers lost some guys, right? Where Penn State, you didn't get a guy here. Iowa, lost out on Assad. Missouri lost out on a spot or 2. Iowa State, I think, on a spot or 2. So, yeah, NC State was your only team to allocate all 10 spots. So, and if I'm Pop, everybody's rumoring him at times, he's going to take over the Okie State one, John Smith. I would never leave NC State. Are you kidding me? Look what he's got going on there. No way would I leave. Yeah, that program right now might be in a better place than Oklahoma State is, So I don't know. Just my opinion. I wouldn't be leaving NC State anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So you have any friends over to watch? Just you and the wife? You have any?
Me and Freddie, me and the baby, and Becca. She'll be watching, of course, too.
Okay. Okay. Good. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Starts on Friday at noon Eastern, MAC on ESPN. So we got Friday at noon. Then MAC semis are Friday night at 5 Eastern. And then Saturday we get up, we roll right into it. We'll get the finishing up of the MAC. You'll get the start of the EIWA. You'll get the start of the Big 12, the start of the Big 10. Then Sunday only is PAC and SoCon. They run in one day. I believe ACC as well. So I think the SoCon was Sunday too. Yeah. So they're all little one-dayers in there. The ACC, the SoCon, little one-day tournaments. EIWA is a 2-dayer. So that's interesting. Those pre-seeds we should see today. ACC, MAC, EIWAs, we should be getting those today. So
sweet. I love it. All right, Corby, we got some wrestling to watch.
I can't wait, man.
Man.
All right, buddy.
Awesome.
And the beat goes on.